Well, howdy there, folks. James, Political Friar, coming to you again. I got the University of Oregon hat on, as you see, and so we're going to have a political topic today. In particular, we're going to talk about an impeachment inquiry, what that even means, and how we got here, and what to expect politically from it. See, on the last day of the session last year, before Congress went to their holiday break, a party line vote was taken. 221 Republicans in favor, 212 Democrats opposed to start what has been called an impeachment inquiry. Impeachment inquiry isn't listed anywhere in the Constitution. It doesn't really have any particular legal effect, this vote. All it really does is give Jim Comer, the lead investigator on the House Oversight Committee, who's been looking into allegations surrounding Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and his brother James Biden, and their business practices with the, frankly, unsubstantiated claim, at least so far, unsubstantiated claim that Joe Biden benefited directly from those business practices and the impeachable offense took bribes and changed policy based on those business interests. Now, that's the allegation. That's the allegation is Joe got money from foreign actors and he did things that he wouldn't have done otherwise. And that's a large, large leap from the sort of influence peddling that there's actually evidence of. But I guess that's what the Republicans want to look into, and the Democrats don't think it's worth the time. But this is a political hat. So let's talk about the politics of this. Speaker Johnson has to keep his right wing satisfied. And so this impeachment inquiry is frankly throwing him a bone. It isn't worth anything. The subpoena power of the House Oversight Committee is the same. They can look into this the same way that people through the last 6 years have been looking at it with the same tools. But by putting everybody on the record, they are forcing the rhinos, the Republicans in name only, who are they're sworn enemies too, to formally back the idea that they're going to go after Joe Biden. So you have representatives like Dusty Johnson from South Dakota who says, we've had enough, quote, we've had enough political impeachments in this country. I don't like the stonewalling the administration has done, but listen, if we don't have the receipts, we should constrain what the House does long term. And then he votes for it. And he says, that's not what this vote is about. No, this vote, Dusty, was about you covering your right flank too. You understand that in South Dakota, if you aren't someone with animus towards Joe Biden, you can't win a Republican primary, so you better vote for it. The thing is, Dusty Johnson's South Dakota seat's pretty safe, but there are other Republicans who were strong-armed into voting for this whose seats aren't safe. There's 14 Republicans, if I recall correctly, who won in districts that Joe Biden won. And that's enough to switch the majority. And so the politics of this are really questionable from the Republicans' point of view because they don't have the receipts. And that's because either they don't exist, which I think after 6 years of looking into it is not an unreasonable inference, or they're just so buried that you can't get to them even using all of the tools that the investigators have had for years. And yet the Republican right is still interested in pursuing this, and probably to their political detriment. Impeachments have never benefited the impeaching party. The impeachment of Andrew Johnson did not help the radical Republicans. Indeed, it was their last hurrah. The impeachment of Bill Clinton did not help the Republican Party. They didn't have George Bush won, but the electoral results in '98 weren't great. The impeachments of Donald Trump, as we all saw, even with significantly more evidence and more obvious wrongdoing, didn't really help the Democrats either. If anything, that has been the basis for Donald Trump's entrenched opposition to the Democrats and his entrenched support because there's grievance. He was treated badly. It doesn't matter what he did. He was treated badly. Why do the Republicans think that the Democrats won't rally around their guy? If anything, this impeachment inquiry is the best present that the Democrats could have given Joe Biden for Christmas. It is going to help him. It will help him reinforce the opposition to the Republicans, and Joe Biden becomes the face of that opposition. And even if he isn't well liked, just like Donald Trump isn't well liked, when you are defending your guy, you can overlook stuff. So this impeachment inquiry is a political mistake on the Republican side, and it's also not going anywhere. There is probably not enough there, as the press secretary said on a Sunday show last weekend, to justify looking into it. In the criminal justice system, we have various levels of proof that allow you to continue with an investigation. You can be pulled over on reasonable suspicion. You can be stopped long enough to decide whether there's probable cause. Reasonable suspicion means that any reasonable person would suspect that a crime is going on, and it justifies further investigation. Probable cause means better than 50% chance that a crime actually happened. Well, there might be reasonable suspicion around Joe, Hunter, and James. There ain't probable cause. And I don't think that many people would impose a penalty of impeachment if it's less likely than not that there wasn't a crime committed, at least based on the evidence that we got. So Jim Comer is going to look into it. He's going to do what he does, and it's probably going to be a show for the right wing, and probably the vast majority of the population isn't going to pay attention, except when Democrats bring up how roughly treated Joe is being. Kind of Trumpy, but it might work. Anyway, it's just my thought. Let me know how wrong I am in the comments down below. Leave me a like, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and know that I really appreciate you. Thanks.